We have some breaking news right now on Denver 7 News at 5 o'clock. President Biden is working to take oil money away from Vladimir Putin.
We're coming together to reduce Europe's dependence on Russian energy.
So the president is headed to Poland, the center of the Ukrainian refugee crisis, as NATO forces are still on alert conducting military exercises.
Charred seats are all that's left of one section of Empower Field after this fire broke out yesterday. Denver firefighters still working to figure out what sparked the fire that sent thick black smoke over the home of the Broncos.
And a heads up, if you were thinking about taking the A-Line train to DIA this morning, there are more cancellations. It's an issue RTD has been facing for days now, but the agency says there is no easy or quick solution as traffic picks up on another Spring Break Friday today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Hey, you know, if you're leaving town for spring break, you're going to miss this amazing weather we're going to have this weekend, Katie.
Yes, spring really settles in here across Colorado through the weekend with temperatures in the 60s this afternoon and above average temperatures returning tomorrow and Sunday. Outside this morning, it's mild. We're in the upper 30s down to Aurora, Parker, 40s already. Boulder and Broomfield, 20s and 30s into many of our mountain towns under a partly cloudy sky, dry conditions statewide. Your planner for this morning by 7 o'clock will still be in the high 30s, so a cool morning. 54 degrees by 11 o'clock and daytime highs reaching the 60s this afternoon. Now, winds have been strong the past couple of afternoons. They are calming down over the northeastern plains, and we'll see some gustier conditions over higher terrain through the later portions of the day. But overall, no advisories in place. You can see we'll stay mostly sunny through 4 o'clock. Daytime highs topping out in the 60s. A little more cloud coverage late tonight into early tomorrow morning over northern Colorado, and then warmer days are ahead. Jason, we are back to the mid 70s tomorrow and upper 70s for Sunday.
Yeah, it feels really nice out there right now, actually, and a good drive for most of us. However, we still have some problems getting to the airport on the A-Line. Right now, driving out that way, I-70 looks good, Pena Boulevard looks good, E-470 looks good, but take a look at the transit issues. The 515 A-Line going from Union Station over to DIA is canceled. The 612 coming back towards downtown is also canceled. It's that second operator that needs to be on the train. That's not available for those two routes, so they will be canceled right now. The rest of the drive doesn't look too bad. We do have this section of 58th Avenue between Franklin and York closed down for a water main break, and so they're going to run you down Franklin over here to Race Street and then back over to Brighton to get around it. The rest of the drive looks just fine. I'm not seeing any other big problems. It will be busy at DIA. A lot of folks coming back from spring break, going to spring break as Denver Public Schools goes on spring break after classes today.
Right now, President Biden is on his way to Poland. Air Force One took off just moments ago. Poland has taken in more than 2 million Ukrainian refugees in the last month. The president will meet with the Polish president as well as U.S. troops who were deployed there weeks ago. They're helping NATO increase security along its eastern side. Overnight, President Biden met with the European Commission president, and they announced a plan to reduce the EU's dependence on Russian energy.
Today, we've agreed on a joint game plan toward that goal while accelerating our progress toward a secure, clean energy future.
The U.S. agreed to supply the EU with at least 15 billion additional cubic meters of fuel before the end of the year. President Biden also announced another $1 billion in humanitarian aid for Ukraine, and the U.S. will also welcome up to 100,000 refugees. Biden says the White House is also looking to send chemical detection systems to Ukraine. Officials are worried Russia will use chemical weapons.
Overnight, Russia now claims it's moving closer to capturing the city of Mariupol in Ukraine. The city estimates 300 people were killed in last week's airstrike on a theater that was being used as a bomb shelter. So as the president heads to Poland today, First Lady Jill Biden is coming to Colorado. She'll be here for a Democratic fundraiser and a White House event. She will also be a guest speaker at the Latin American Educational Foundation Gala.
The Latin American Education Foundation is an old Colorado college assistance and scholarship program, statewide program that serves Colorado's Hispanic and Latino youth. Our main goal is to try to get these students to college, but not just to college. We want to help them get through to their degree.
So I had a chance to sit down with the foundation's executive director, Jim Chavez, and ask him about the importance of getting more Latinos into college.
We need a more talented, educated workforce, and college is the path to doing that. So our big goal is to help many, many more talented Hispanic and Latino students get to college, get through college successfully, and then launch them into their careers so they can be positive, contributing members of the economy and the community, but also, taking better care of themselves and their families, helping the community.
What's really cool is he told me he could, as executive director, be the one to introduce the First Lady tomorrow night. Instead, he's going to let one of their students have the honor of introducing Jill Biden. You can learn more about the foundation's work on the website laef.org, which stands for Latin American Educational Foundation.
The attorney for Aurora's police chief tells Denver 7 the chief has no plans to retire or resign, but that the city manager has asked her for an exit strategy. High-ranking sources told Denver 7 investigates city leaders are forcing Wilson out. So far, the city is not confirming or denying our report, but her attorney tells Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski that Wilson and Twombly, the city manager, recently met virtually where an exit strategy was brought up.
It's fair to say the city manager is trying to force her out.
Well, I think it's several people, but certainly when you ask somebody for an exit strategy, it does appear that there's a big problem.
Chief Wilson is out of the country on vacation right now. Her attorney believes the discussion about an exit strategy right before she left was calculated. Ultimately, Aurora's city manager will have the final say on whether the chief stays or goes.
Taking a live look at Empower Field this morning, where it looks normal and quiet now, but the Denver Fire Department says a whole section of the stadium will now be shut down after it caught fire yesterday afternoon. You may have seen the smoke billowing out of the stadium. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford joins us from the newsroom this morning. And Jessica, we're already learning about the cost to repair the stadium ahead of several events next month.
That's right. The Denver Fire Department tells us that 4 suites were damaged and the cost to repair that part of the stadium could be in the millions. And it wasn't just the dramatic fire in those seats. Wind pushed smoke into the building too. Firefighters say Empower Field will have to shut that section down. So here is a look at Empower Field yesterday afternoon. You can see those flames right there. The first fire alarm sounded at 2:15. Sprinklers did activate in the suite area, but didn't help in the open seats. About 75 firefighters responded and they got that blaze under control in about half an hour. But then the damage was done. 1,000 square feet were burned. And according to the Twitter account for Empower Field, the fire broke out in a construction zone, but still the cause of it is unknown. At the time, people were on a tour of the stadium and say that the fire spread so fast through those seats.
I just came here for vacation, and today was my day to see the Broncos Stadium. About halfway through, there was a fire. We had to evacuate. Just smoke took over the entire field from the press box we were in. It was insane. At first, it started off with like 1 seat on fire, and then it just took off. It was crazy.
The good news here, there were no injuries. The next event at Empower Field is Monster Jam on April 23rd. It's not clear if the fire is going to impact that. And this isn't the first Mile High fire. The old stadium burned during demolition in 2002. Investigators determined that was caused by a welder's torch. I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
Yeah, just a bizarre situation out there. If you take the A-Line train to the airport, you may have seen a lot of cancellations this week. RTD says it's because of ongoing staffing issues. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us live this morning. And Veronica, unfortunately, there is no easy or quick fix here.
And it's arguably one of the most important and one of the most used RTD lines, right? During a weekday, on average, ridership is nearly 13,000 people on one of these A-Line trips. Just yesterday, we saw 8 of those trips canceled. This morning, already 2. RTD says one of those trips from RTD, or rather from Union Station to DIA, is canceled, and then another from DIA back to Union Station. Those aren't going to be happening so far. So those rides, they do run every 15 minutes. Usually. This week, many of them have been switched to every 30 minutes instead, and that's because those are commuter lines. Those require 2 crew members instead of just 1. So if for some reason one of those crew members, they can't make it, they had to call out sick, or they're running late, then that line can't run. RTD officials told us they try to switch staff around where they can, but that does get kind of difficult.
We do everything we can to fill that vacancy with a second crew member, but sometimes we just can't do that. If somebody calls in or can't make their shift, it has a ripple effect, because then we have to try and fill that spot. And if we can't, then that's when we have to drop the train.
So one of the big questions we had and a lot of others had was why not switch a crew member from one of those N or those G lines over to the A line? Well, RTD says that second crew member on the A line, it's an armed transit security officer, and some of those other lines, they just don't have those. So there's no way to get one of them onto the A line, and that is one of their issues. So they're trying to work as best they can. We also asked if at any point RTD is going to choose to get rid of the every 15-minute car on the A line. They say there's no chance. They want to keep it at every 15 minutes. They don't want to make it every 30 minutes. So they're going to keep trying to get as many staff members as they can. We're in Denver this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta. Back to you.
Yeah, and this is coming during a busy travel time. Spring break is bringing people back to Denver International Airport. TSA says Sunday was the second busiest day of the airport since before the pandemic, and last Friday was the third busiest day. So if you're wondering what the busiest day since the pandemic began was, it was September 6th of last year. That was Labor Day. Airport traffic is still down about 15% from its pre-pandemic record. Southwest Airlines opened a massive new hangar at DIA this week. The company hopes it will bring more jobs to Denver. The hangar has new offices, a training area, a warehouse, and maintenance shops. It also serves as the new home for more than 100 Denver-based technical operations employees for Southwest. With gas prices going up, electric vehicles are in higher demand. How a company in Colorado is working to power them up.
And taking a live look from the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, the producer for the Oscars says get ready for an event to remember.
I've seen this show. Let me tell you something. This is going to be an Oscars that people are going to be talking about for a very long time.
We are looking at the Colorado connections ahead of Sunday's ceremony.